Let's take a look at the following, a concrete example of the computation of the union of two sets. Let's just recap quickly visually what we mean by A union B. If you have a set A that's all red and a set B that is all blue, then let's consider that they have common elements, that they overlap in some ways. Then A union B will be made up of the elements that are not just red and not just blue, but also the elements that have both colors. So you'll get that shape, that's going around the edges of the two sets. And I do call this particular shape, either the MasterCard shape, and notice that I filled it in gray, or you can also call it squished 8, whichever way you want to look at it. So that is A union B that I have highlighted in gray. Let's now take a look at the following example. Let's say set A is a red set made up of the red elements 10, 20, 30. Set B is a blue set made up of the blue elements 20, 30, 40, 50. Since we want to find their union, A union B, let's just notice one thing over here, that A and B happen to share some elements which are namely 20 and 30. And those elements are not only red but also blue. So what I did when I wrote those two sets with their colors, I wrote them again using for 20 and 30 purple, since those elements happen to be not only red but also blue. So now the question is, given set A and set B, we want to find A union B. So let's go ahead and do that on the right hand side over here. And I wrote what set A is, I put the union symbol, and I wrote set B. And then I'm showing you again with the colors which ones are the common elements. But a usual technique for finding the union of two sets is very simple. What you do is the following: to unite the contents of set A and B, you start by writing what one set is giving you. In this case, we have set A giving us a 10, 20, and 30. And then what you do, you take a look at the other set, set B, and you look for any new elements. In this case, only 40 and 50 are new to that list that we started with set A. So you tag those new elements along, and that will give you the answer to the union of the two sets. So again, how do we deal with a union of two sets? You start with one set, what it has to give you, all the elements that it can give you, and then you notice in the next set over here, so I put 10, 20, 30, I noticed if set B had anything new to give me, 40 and 50, and tag those behind. Now in the union, notice, the composition of this union. You have 10, which is just of a red color because it only belongs to A. Then you have 20 and 30, which are purple because they are elements that showed up not only in A but also in B. And you also have, so they were red and blue at the same time. Okay, so I made them purple just to emphasize, that they are common elements to both sets. And then finally, the union is made up of 40 and 50 in this case, which are just plain blue elements that only belong to B. Okay, and some of you may think, okay, wait a minute, why didn't we just, to find the union, put what A has to offer, and then just put what B has to offer as well, and then just get this answer right here? That would be an answer that's not wrong. However, it is not as elegant as not repeating 20 and 30 since you mentioned them already. In set A, you don't need to mention them again, since this set with so many elements right here is really equal to just mentioning the elements only one time. So just recall this technique. When you have to unite two sets, just start with one set and tag along anything new that the other set has to offer. Now a visual representation is mentioned below. And if you want to find the union of A union B, it's just a little MasterCard symbol. Everything you see that's in the gray shading. It has in it 10, 20, 30, 40, 50.